On today's episode, we're talking a Black Widow movie. Did Ubisoft learn their lesson? Nintendo's 2018 outlook? And should you care about Edward Norton's Hulk movie? All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos. Hello, everyone. We are back once again. It is the Pop Culture Cosmos Show. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you listening to us out there in, well, all the vastness of space and time and reality and all that great stuff. We just appreciate you listening to the broadcast here today. And of course, my good friend, the main man that is in charge of everything at Humanica Media. He is back once again, riding with me right here in the saddle. It's Josh Peterson. What's going on, my friend?
Oh, just doing that late night podcast, and I was listening to there's a new station on satellite radio, and we're playing all these old songs, so I'm just kind of like cruising through my high school music albums. So I'm feeling nostalgic tonight. You're muted.
It would be great if SiriusXM picked us up as well. That would be awesome to hear the Pop Culture Cosmos and Humanica Media on SiriusXM satellite radio.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just get, what would our channel be called? It would be called
Just Listen to Us, Please.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, it doesn't sound desperate, but it sounds like it could be interesting,
Fair enough. But we also got some more great additions. Some great radio stations have picked us up already and beating Sirius XM to the punch. Want to thank and welcome the Cutting Edge Radio Network. Their Good Talk radio station now has us on every Sunday. Back-to-back episodes of the Pop Culture Cosmos Show and the PCC Multiverse are now on every Sunday night on Good Talk Radio. You want to check that out as part of the Cutting Edge Radio Network. We're also going to be on the Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting Network. So please, if you're in that area and you're really online, if you're a big fan of their network online, you can now catch our show there too. And we'll be sharing the days and times upcoming in the near future when that's going to happen with them. And we are back on Anchor.fm. Our full shows are actually going to be uploaded every Monday and Friday to Anchor.fm. If you're a big Anchor fan, you're going to be listening to the Pop Culture Cosmos and PCC Multiverse there. It does get broken up, so I will let you know, into about 4, 5, 6 pieces or so, but you can listen to it if you are a big Anchor fan and you like that radio station format they have there. The Pop Culture Cosmos and PCC Multiverse and even Humanica Media will be there as well. We've got a great show coming up for you today. We've got a lot to talk about, including a new Black Widow movie. Who called it? Me. I know. I have been for quite some time now. It is now kind of getting closer to fruition, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Plus also as well, Ubisoft is at it again. Their affection for Assassin's Creed knows no bounds, and we'll explain more why that may not be such a good thing coming up later in the show. Also as well, we're going to be talking about Nintendo's 2018 outlook. A lot of great games and a lot of great things coming up for Nintendo now that right now they are the big boy on the block. They're number one right now on the marketplace with the Nintendo Switch. And we're going to talk about exactly what we are looking forward to with Nintendo. And then also as well, later on in the show, we're going to close it out with our thoughts on Edward Norton's Hulk movie from 2008 and ask, is it really all that important to the MCU? Should you go back and watch it? Should you even watch it in the first place if you missed it already? And why, or or should you even care that it even exists within the MCU? We're going to talk about that movie and a whole lot more on today's episode. But Josh, first off, did I call it or did I call it when it comes to a proposed Black Widow movie? Looks like it may be kind of green-lighted as, well, Marvel, Kevin Feige and all that have the powers that be, they've gotten together and said, maybe we're thinking about a Black Widow movie. They've signed a writer. They've attached a writer to the actual Black Widow to write a script for the actual Black Widow movie. So it is getting one step closer. It's not part of a schedule as yet, but what are your thoughts on Black Widow possibly, maybe, hopefully, as someone who has wanted it for quite some time, coming to fruition as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
If they were to make it like a Captain America Winter Soldier type film, I think it'd be awesome because like pull her out of the supernatural stuff for a bit and just let her be let her be who she is. Like that'd be cool. And I love how, and I'm not necessarily saying it has to have a man to balance it out, but it would be fun to see her with Bucky in some manner doing something.
Well, I think it would be more with Hawkeye. And I know we've talked about this way in the distant past about possibly reigniting maybe the scenario regarding Budapest that was briefly mentioned in the Avengers movie, and then talking, maybe circling a story around that because fans would be somewhat familiar with that concept, or placing it somewhere in the recent past or even the distant past, because if she gets killed off in the Avengers Infinity War, either 1 or 2, it still could come to fruition as far as telling a story from the past about how she came to be.
Yeah, and they kind of did that in Age of Ultron, but like even to just have an elaboration on her, how like she met Hawkeye, you're right. That'd be a really cool movie. What I like about this is that Marvel is the only company or big studio out there that is being proactive about the like women in Hollywood and kind of answering back at the sexual harassment stuff and the women being mistreated. And it's good for them. I hope the writing's good. I don't want to see like one of those movies where it's I don't know how to phrase this without sounding bad, but like diversity for the sake of diversity. You know how they have a lot of those movies out there. So I would want like the writing on this to be good. It has the potential for a great story, but I just hope that it doesn't feel rushed just to appeal to a moment,
And that's something we've talked about before. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. You don't want to rush it down. You don't want to just put it out there as something, hey, look at us. We're being diverse. We're having a female lead character on screen in our universe. Hey. And then also as well, Captain Marvel coming out. Hey, look at us. We're the bomb. No, I don't think they'll do that. And it's just great to see that they're actually finally getting some sense, as I've talked about pretty much since we've started the Pop Culture Cosmos. In fact, even before when we were doing Game Source episodes, I was talking about a Black Widow movie needing to happen because I thought the way she's portrayed that character has been really strong, and a lot of individuals. I'll go on record again. I'm the father of 2 awesome daughters, and they both look up to her character. And in fact, if it wasn't for her character in the Avengers, that it really just, it wouldn't actually, I don't think my girls would be really fans today of it, but they saw her in that scene where she's getting onto the Shintari glider and she's about ready to fly it, and she's controlling it, and she seizes command and all that, and she's battling the forces of Loki and all that. And they saw that, and that's what really got them into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And from there, it's like, we have to watch all the back episodes, watch all the back films, watch everything that's coming. They are huge Marvel Cinematic Universe fans, and they can that gets attributed to Black Widow for my girls. And I know there's a lot of other ladies, young ladies, and also young men, young ladies everywhere that have grown up with the Black Widow character from Iron Man 2 on, and that they appreciate her character a whole lot. And I think it actually would do very, very well and very strong at the box office.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, this is a good, like I said, it's a good time for it. Just, write it correctly. Don't rush it out to hit a certain moment or a, group of people. And then, I see it as a decent standalone story, but who knows? Yeah, no, it's good. I'm excited to hear it. I hope they make an announcement soon, just to kind of put that into a, make it more concrete. But yeah, I mean, even like though she's not labeled as a princess, I kind of look at her like as a kind of bad A Disney princess as far as Black Widow goes.
One that could really just do a number on you with those, with those widow shockers, just like right on you. I know.
Oh yeah,
exactly. Or just like taking you out at the kneecap right there.
Yeah, like the security guards from Iron Man 2, man, they can attest to that.
Exactly. Jon Favreau is still fighting that one guy, I'm sure, right now. If after all that. But be that as it may, we're just really excited for Black Widow movie to come out. I hope it does come to fruition. I hope they do get something going with the script, and that Jack Schaefer, who has been signed on to write the script according to Variety, is just really gonna get this thing going with a great script, a great screenplay, and get this thing going with a good director and into the Marvel Cinematic Universe post Infinity War #2 or whatever is being called, the 2019 movie. At this point in time, we don't know yet, so we'll have to wait to see on that one. But I'm just so excited that finally something is being done, at least in regards to Black Widow and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So even if her character does get killed in the 2018 or 2019 Avengers film, at least they won't kill off her character entirely, and that they'll actually give her the proper respect she's due because of all the great things she's done over the years with the Black Widow character. What are your thoughts on Black Widow, the movie? Are you excited that it might happen? Are you really intrigued now that a writer has been tapped to at least write a screenplay and write a script to see how it might be fleshed out? Are you excited for it to become a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or do you even really care at all? And I hope not. But if you don't care, you don't care. And please, we want to know that too. Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Humanica Media, Pop Culture Cosmos, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, like I said, it's going to be an outstanding episode we have for you today. We got a lot to talk about, including Ubisoft, Nintendo, and also as well, once again, we're going to be touching on Marvel as we break down movies on on our upcoming episodes leading into Black Panther. We're not going to just wait for the Infinity War. No, we're going to be breaking down all the movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as it gets closer to Black Panther, one of our movies that we're really excited for in 2018. And we're going to be doing that with Edward Norton's Hulk movie from 2008, and ask, is it really that important to the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Should you really go back and watch it, or do you really even care? So we're going to actually ask that question. We're going to ask those questions later on in the program. It's going to be definitely a great show indeed. But first, we've got our great friend, Chad from Hyperschmidt. Okay, I'll ask you, Josh. What song from Hyperschmidt do you think we should do you think we should put on today's episode?
Oh, I wish I actually remembered the name of my own friend's songs here. I like what's the one I did for the Hellblade music video?
That I will find out right now. I can't do that. And this is, thank God, this doesn't go as part of the live thing.
That's my favorite one. It's What is it?
Looking through all your playthroughs. Your Hellblade. Oh wait, you didn't attach Hellblade to it.
Let's see. I'm gonna find it here. I think I'm on the right page. It is Fighting Eyes.
Okay.
Fighting Eyes.
So Josh chooses Fighting Eyes. So here it is from our good friend Chad and Hyperschmidt. And you can catch all of his songs today on the Hyperschmidt channel on YouTube. This is Fighting Eyes. And this is the Pop Culture Cosmos. And we're back with the Pop Culture Cosmos show. This is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. Josh, I know you got a great thing going on with your awesome channel known as Humanica Media, and you've got podcasts like just flying right and left at everyone out there in Humanica Media land. So what truly is going on with your great thing called Humanica Media?
Yeah, let's see. There's a new Inside Sports will be up next week, and tune into a new Topicocalypse. The following week, you'll have a brand new episode of What About This? If you want to catch last week's episode, it's up on Podbean, iTunes, all the usual suspects. And I hear we're going back up on Podcast Radio Network here soon. Is that correct?
That is correct. We want to make a big shout out to John Sweeney Jr., our good friend who runs the Podcast Radio Network, because this show, we are back, and we are back strong again on the Podcast Radio Network. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast. And I'll tell you what, not only is the Pop Culture Cosmos show back on and back stronger than ever on the Podcast Radio Network, but Attack of the Humanicans and the PCC Multiverse are also back on the air as well. Check your listings. I think you are, if I remember correctly, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday on the Podcast Radio Network, and the podcast, and on Fridays, the PCC Multiverse as well. But I think you're on 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on the Podcast Radio Network every Tuesday night.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So what else you got going on, did you say? I'm sorry?
That's it right now. Just the three usuals and, the great content we do here at the Pop Culture Cosmos show.
Fair enough, indeed. And again, check out all of Humanica Media's great stuff that's going on, including all the stuff that comes down the pike with their new and current episodes of all their famous podcasts on Podbean, YouTube, also as well Apple Podcasts, and so many other great podcasting outlets. So Josh, let me ask you a question. If you were Ubisoft and you just, you had this strong affection for Assassin's Creed ever since the first one came out in 2007, and you just beat it into the ground because you produced an Assassin's Creed game year after year after year after year, and you finally, after 6-7 years, finally decided maybe we should take a year off or some time off to maybe reevaluate and reinvigorate the Assassin's Creed franchise. They, of course, you and a lot of other people thought that the latest edition of the Assassin's Creed franchise, Assassin's Creed Origins, was a very, very good, a very solid, very, very great, very, very good game. And, things were going great, waiting for some DLC, waiting for some good stuff to happen. Then all of a sudden, Ubisoft, not remembering from past mistakes about bringing out too much Assassin's Creed, just recently announced a new Assassin's Creed remake. And this one is going to be a remake of one of their better versions of their games. And it's Assassin's Creed Rogue. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't know if I would go as far as to say like a better version of their game. If I were them, I would have released how they did the Ezio trilogy?
Yes.
If they're going to remaster anything, I would remaster the Conway or the Kenway trilogy. So you'd have your Assassin's Creed 3, Black Flag, and then Rogue is actually part of that trilogy. But yeah, Rogue is one of those ones. It was kind of mirrored by the console jump. So it came out at the same time as, I want to say, Unity did. No, Black Flag.
It was. No, I think it was right around Unity.
Because the guy in Rogue is responsible for killing Arno's father in Unity. So Rogue leads right up into Unity. But yeah, I would. It's kind of a weird title to be remastering. I think that they took a hit with not having a game come out last year, but
well, no, they did come out with a game last year. It was called Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah, no, but I mean before that they took that gap year and they
2016, yeah.
Maybe that was when the Ezio trilogy came out. So maybe they are going to take another year off, but they're just trying to put something out in the meantime. But no, that's really soon, March.
That's correct. March, the end of March, we are looking to have Assassin's Creed Rogue remastered appear on retail shelves. I think it's just way too soon. I think they're not even letting Assassin's Creed Origins time to breathe and be able to develop and have some legs as a game that will stand up on its own and as a way of reinvigorating the Assassin's Creed franchise. And I think a lot of the goodwill that Ubisoft has because of Assassin's Creed Origins is maybe not going to stay with them because there's just going to be too much Assassin's Creed brought out in way too short of a time span.
Yeah, well, I mean, you read and listened to my review of Assassin's Creed, so yeah, it's Rogue is not like a title that I would see selling a whole lot. So maybe it's just something they had on the back burner and they're finally getting ready to put it out. But yeah, Origins has hardly had time to kind of settle in the minds of gamers, and the ending was just awful in that game. So I mean, I was hoping to see some DLC that might rectify some of that stuff, but yeah, I mean, I'm predicting that we're not going to see another mainline Assassin's Creed entry, at least for a couple years. But maybe they're going to put Rogue out, and maybe they have some other. They're just trying to get all their back catalog onto current gen consoles. We'll see. Yeah, I don't really know. Like, I mean, I don't see how this could hurt them, but I just see how it could bring that fatigue back that gamers were experiencing.
I think it will. I mean, I think it just sends too much confusion out into the marketplace again, like they had once before with, is this the latest Assassin's Creed, or is this the Assassin's Creed that came out last year in 2017? Is this the most current one, or oh, it's not, it's a remastered? I think it just sends too much confusion into the marketplace, and I think it becomes a situation where Rogue sales of the remastered Rogue version will suffer because of it. Now they're just putting it out there to put out there. All right, whatever. But I would advise against it. If they're not bringing out an Assassin's Creed edition or new iteration of the Assassin's Creed series this year, I would have saved Rogue Remastered for maybe like a holiday title, so maybe get some extra sales right around then to get people just buying that want to buy Assassin's Creed games right around that time. I thought that would be a better time for it, but that's just me. What would you be thinking if that's the case? I mean, should they have waited till later in the year to release Rogue Remastered?
Well, see, that's what makes me wonder. Like, if they're releasing it in the spring, what do they have planned? Because they have to have something planned for the holidays, whether it's some kind of remaster or a one-off title. But like, if they're releasing this in March, there's definitely something that they're planning on putting out next holiday season. So that's the question right now: is what is it? Is it going to be an expansion for Assassin's Creed Origins? Is it going to be Kenway trilogy remastered, or maybe the first one remastered? Who knows? But if they're releasing something in March, it probably means more than likely they have something coming out during the holidays next year or this year.
I agree with you on that. But for me, it still just seems to me too soon for another Assassin's Creed edition of any kind. I think they should have let our Origins try and get some breathing room, get some legs in there. But by bringing it out so soon, it tells me that there is something in the works for the Assassin's Creed series coming up later this holiday season, and that Rogue Remastered, they're just looking to get bonus sales, and they're not looking to get much more out of it at Ubisoft. So just we'll have to wait and see, but Rogue Remastered, a very, very solid game that looks to be getting a remastered, but maybe it was just a little bit too soon. And I think right now we're kind of getting worried about Ubisoft not learning from its mistakes from before and just bring out too much Assassin's Creed in too short of a time. What are your thoughts on Assassin's Creed, the series, with Origins coming out, very, very strongly in reviews and very, very decently in sales? Then now coming out with Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered. Do you think it's too much AC for you? Is it too much, or is it not enough? Or do you like it just the way it is, with a lot of Assassin's Creed floating around all over the place and remastered versions on the left and new iterations on the right? If that's what you like, let us know. If that's what you don't like, let us know as well. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. And we're back with the Pop Culture Cosmos show. My name is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. Josh, you specifically wanted to break down the year 2018 for each of the major console makers. So I'll tell you what, this is a great time to break down Nintendo's future this year in 2018. At this point, right now, they're the king of the hill when it comes to console sales, with we reported on a most recent podcast that Nintendo sales have reached 5 million strong as far as here in the US, and is outpacing every other console at this point in time in console sales history. So I ask you, Josh, what are some of the games that you're looking forward to with your Nintendo Switch this year in 2018?
What I like about what Nintendo is doing is that they're, back when the Wii came out, it almost was, we were trying to catch up on all the major titles as they came out, but it was almost overwhelming, the amount of games and, I guess, indie developers that were coming out with stuff. What's nice about this is, yeah, they're releasing indie titles.
Well, also shovelware as well. When shovelware
yeah,
really became a problem with the Wii.
Oh yeah, they were terrible with that. But like they remedied that with the Switch. What I like is that, you can purchase all the indie stuff coming out on the marketplace, but they're not creating physical copies of a lot of this stuff. So you can go into GameStop or Target and just see it all nice and organized. And it's not like, there's not hundreds of games to pick from. There's like maybe 20 or 30. They're being organized this time around, and I'm excited to play. Like Lost Sphere just came out. I want to jump on that. They got Dragon Quest, Bayonetta 2, Payday, Kirby Star. They're remastering Donkey Kong Jungle Freeze, Hyrule Warriors. I know a lot of the stuff coming out is it's remasters, but it's still nice to be able to play it though. There's a couple others. There was, I don't know, like if we're going to be seeing, they're talking about like the new Pokemon games. I don't know if we're going to be seeing those before the holidays, before 2018's over, but just knowing that stuff's on the horizon is really cool. And, I'm super excited to actually be able to play, because, I just finished Wolfenstein. I'm really excited to be able to play Wolfenstein 2 on Switch when it comes out. And, yeah. So, there's I don't know, like I'm looking at what else they got coming out here. There's Shovel Knight was they have another sequel to Shovel Knight, and they're talking about they haven't really given a release date for what was it, the new Metroid game, but just knowing that that's coming out, knowing that Nintendo has a plan to carry on some of these great franchises that people know and love. And then, Bayonetta 3 and what was the other one? It was No More Heroes 2. Those look interesting. And, they're being smart with their Nintendo Directs too. So I'm sure we're going to be seeing more things rolling out in the coming months, what we can expect, as the months lead up to E3 and then eventually into the holidays. But is there anything coming out from Nintendo that or anything you would like to see come out from Nintendo, or anything that you're actually excited to kind of jump into?
Well, first off, it's really cool that they had a surprise Nintendo mini direct the other day. I thought that was really very cool of them to keep refreshing in the fans' minds, and also a very smart move by them by doing so. I don't see PlayStation and Xbox doing that right now in the month of January. They're pretty much letting it be a quiet month for them. Nintendo wasn't sitting still, wasn't going ahead and just, taking everything in and just saying, hey, we're just going to be cruising right along with our sales of Nintendo Switches and whatnot. We're going to keep telling everybody why Nintendo Switch is the best platform out there right now, according to Nintendo. That they show it by doing that mini direct, and games like Kirby. And games like Kirby Star Allies, the new Mario Tennis coming up, also as well the reimagining of Dark Souls remastered coming out on several platforms.
Let me ask you about that. Are you actually excited to play that? I remember liking the game, but it was the most punishing video game I have ever played, and I fear for what will happen to my Nintendo Switch if I played that game again.
Well, look at what that game did. Look at what that game spawned off. I mean, so not only success of Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and all that, but Bloodborne, and that basically it said to gamers out there that it was okay to be punished, that it was okay to be beaten down, that it was okay to try and overcome these overwhelming challenges within video games. And Dark Souls being, I don't want to say the originator of it, because there's been hard games before, but really the one that has popularized these type of game mechanics in today's console market. You could pretty much point to Dark Souls and say that was one of the key games to do so. It's good to see it getting some love and being remastered and put not only on a Switch, but also other platforms as well. And I think it's a good thing to come back out. It was very tough when I gave it a try, and I know I put the controller down right away after trying it just for a brief amount of time. But you know what? If it comes back out on the Switch and PS4 and Xbox One, I may give it a try on the Switch. And as far as a lot of other games go, I mean, the Switch is now the hot thing, and I'm sure come E3 time, you're going to hear just a plethora of games that are coming out for it, because you know how developers are. They jump on that hot train really fast once they see the sales. And everybody was on PS4 when PS4 was the king of the hill. Everybody was okay on Xbox One, but PS4 was really, really getting them in and getting those exclusives and getting all those great games to their console. Now that Nintendo Switch is on top, you're starting to see that tide turn towards Nintendo, and all these games, like you said, Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. Obviously, Bethesda's making a big charge into the Nintendo Switch. There's quite a few other games as well being ported over to it. I think it is really going to be a very, very strong year again. You've also got a new Donkey Kong. You also got a new Donkey Kong Country Tropical. You also got Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze coming to the Switch as well. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. You've got The World Ends With You, a final remix. You're getting a lot of these either new games or reimaginings of these classic games coming to the Nintendo Switch, which is just making that inventory even more full and even more attractive to people who don't have the unit as of yet. And like we've said on previous podcasts, it is not as difficult as it once was to get a Wii or or any hot selling Nintendo item in the past, it should be readily available at this point in time. Both Josh and I have been in and out of stores and seen online and seen Nintendo Switches readily available. So now that it looks like it is not only selling well, but also readily available, it's great to see a lot of new titles from Nintendo Switch coming in 2018 as well.
Right, and what I like about them, about Nintendo's, how they're approaching this is that whereas PlayStation, at their conferences, they get up there and they show you a bunch of videos of stuff that you can expect at some point in the future, whether it's 1 years, 10 years, whatever. They tease you with all this stuff that you may not see, until you're like 30. Case in point, Final Fantasy, versus 13. How long were we waiting for that one?
Well, quite a bit, but I kind of passed 30 a long time ago. So
yeah,
for me, that was The Last Guardian.
I was 13 when they announced Final Fantasy Versus 13, and then it finally came out as Final Fantasy 15 when I was 28, so or something like that. It's somewhere in that window. But Nintendo is only giving you projections for stuff that is happening between now and next year, so you kind of have a window of what you can expect, but they don't give you exact dates, and that's why it's so much more exciting when these Nintendo Directs happen, because they throw the game out there and then you get super stoked about it, because it's sometimes it is what you're hoping it's going to be, sometimes it's not. So they're being really smart about this, and they're building that hype train, and I'm on board right now.
He is on board, and I'm getting close to being on board. I know, as I've said before in the past with Rob McCallum, I've even said it with you, I was always on the fence when it came to the Wii U. I never actually fell over into it, because I always said the major problem with the Wii U, and the reason why I wouldn't get a Wii U, is that for the price, I didn't think the backlog and inventory of games was all that impressive. And the fact that third-party developers were not getting into the Wii U at all whatsoever. And I thought that was probably one of the reasons for its demise. But hey, the Nintendo Switch has come out strong in sales, and it seems like third-party developers from all over are getting into the Switch. And it's a great thing to see, because when Nintendo's a major player in the video game console industry, that just makes PlayStation and Xbox work that much harder, and complacency goes by the wayside. And then it only benefits not only the developers, the publishers, but most importantly, it benefits the gamers by bringing out great games and great products. So it definitely is a very good thing to see. And I definitely see some awesome things up ahead in this year in 2018 for Nintendo, with a lot of great games. And I'm excited for one of the first times in a long time at E3, whether I go to it or whether I'm watching it at home. I'm very, very excited to see not only what Xbox has coming out, which I'm always excited to see. I'm always excited to see what PlayStation 4 has coming out. I'm always on the fence with Nintendo, but this is one of the first years that I'm actually just full on board, excited to see what Nintendo's coming out with, because it is now a great time to be a Switch owner, because a lot of great games are coming down the pike. And I know, as Josh will tell you, no longer gathering dust. There's a lot of action and a lot of games right now available for it. And definitely it being a Nintendo Switch owner right now is a great thing to be indeed. What are your thoughts on Nintendo's 2018? Are you excited for all the great games coming out? Is there one particular title that you're looking forward to? Or is there a game that you would like to see ported over to it, or a game that you would like to see coming to it made by Nintendo? Or you got your fingers crossed that that they'll announce it at E3 or another upcoming Nintendo Direct? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. When we return, we're going to be talking a little bit more in regards to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and where, or if you should care about watching The Incredible Hulk again. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. And we're back to close out the show. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Gerald Glassford. We just want to thank you so much for being part of the broadcast here today. If for any reason you miss our shows on the Podcast Radio Network every Monday and Friday, or you miss Humanican Media on Tuesday, you could definitely want to check our social media sites on Facebook and also as well Game Source to get the latest information on where to go, because there's a lot of great channels that you'll be able to download our shows at any point in time. For instance, for us, it's at the Pop Culture Cosmos and PCC Multiverse. You can download our shows on podcast.com, also as well Podchaser, the ESO Network, the Tangibound Network, Google Play, Stitcher, and over a dozen different streaming podcast networks. And if you do download or stream our podcast from one of those networks, we always throw in a bonus for you, bonus podcast, bonus footage. We always throw in something a little extra just for listening. And speaking of the Gun and Geek Network, which we are also a proud member of, just want to give you a holler. Oh, where did I put it? You know what? I took down the page. I had it up and I let it go. Very shame on me. Give me just a second. And speaking of the Gun and Geek Network, which you can hear the Pop Culture Cosmos and the PCC Multiverse on every single week. We just stream it at any point in time on their great Gun and Geek Network. You can also hear Gamer Public Radio, where they discussed community involvement, where they discuss why community involvement matters in your game. They interview a professional QA tester. They talk revival of the Duke controller and a whole lot more. That's Gamer Public Radio right now on one of our great networks, the Gunny Geek Network. Check it out today. Josh, I want to close out the show with our continuing look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And right now, I don't know if you can hear noise. And right now, want to talk in the Incredible Hulk. What are your impressions with the Incredible Hulk right now, and how important is he to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
The Hulk is, I know he's tied up in, Universal contract obligations and all that stuff, but that's one of those movies where it's kind of like, to me, the Incredible Hulk is kind of like the first Thor. I liked it the first time, but the more that I watch it, the less I like it. Because, you get attached to Edward Norton as an actor in the film, and then you just kind of think about like what Mark Ruffalo has done for the Hulk, and it makes it seem like his whole performance is kind of pointless. Even the Hulk seems like a different Hulk in the newer films. But I know it's canon because they have the part with Robert Downey Jr. and Thunderbolt Ross, and he actually carries his character into Captain America: Civil War. But pretty much everything that they did story-wise in the Incredible Hulk is just completely undone in the other movies. The only thing that like connects them is Robert Downey Jr. and Thunderbolt Ross. So,
although Mark Ruffalo did say he kind of broke Harlem the last time he was in New York. Yeah,
and they make references to it, and so I like it. I like the last scene, not the last. Yeah, I like the last scene in the Incredible Hulk. But like everything that they built, everything from like the story of Abomination to the the leader, how he has the blood dripping on his head and his brain gets big, all that stuff that they built and started, they can't touch. Universal has the rights to.
You mean the scientist that happens to?
Yeah, they call him the lead. He's called the leader, but yeah,
because he becomes, or he was supposed to have become something more in a following film.
Yeah, but all that stuff, everything they built, they can't touch. Like that's a huge problem. So it makes everything seem kind of pointless. I like the buildup, but besides the contractual obligations and the character rights and all that, I'm not too fond of having the Hulk as a standalone character. Like I don't think his story and villains are really that interesting enough, because it's kind of like the Hulk is kind of like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles of the Marvel universe. You know, they have like awkward, big, bad, bulky bad guys, but like after that, there's not really much of a story besides the, you know, the Planet Hulk and Scar Son of Hulk comic runs, World War Hulk and all that stuff. But you know, he's much better as an ensemble character. And like even after Thor Ragnarok, I was much more inclined to actually, you know, like the Hulk, like Mark Ruffalo, like you know, it just kind of I was never really cared about that until they develop his character better when they have somebody to help develop it that's not the Hulk.
Well, first off, on that last scene, let's talk about that last scene in the movie, the after credit scene, you know, when Marvel's was really getting to just starting to make the after credit scene really something special. I think to me, does it seem like to you that it seemed like, okay, they asked Samuel L. Jackson originally to do that and he just couldn't make it that day for whatever reason. So they got Robert Downey Jr. to come in there last second to basically play him, because it doesn't really fit
right.
Robert Downey Jr. playing that role in that part of the movie, because it you know, he gets kicked out of the Avengers Initiative once it's proposed to him by Samuel L. Jackson.
But and think about it too. Think about it this way: he in you know, in Iron Man, they never really like. He says, "Hey, I'm starting a team," but it just stops. So there's no like there's no more introduction to it. And then, you know, they have Robert Downey Jr. show up in this bar and say, "Hey, we're forming a team," but he doesn't really know anything about it because there's no information that's been given on it. So it is a weird cameo, and it kind of feels out of place.
It just feels like to me that Samuel L. Jackson should have done it. It makes much more sense. With Robert Downey Jr. doing it, it makes it totally worthless. And really, to me, it just all that after credit scene really is worthless, and it's really no point in watching it or pretty much the entire movie, because as long as you know Thunderbolt Ross, General Thunderbolt Ross, is who he is when he comes on in Civil War, and you understand who he is in retrospect, that's all you need to know. Otherwise, this movie is completely a waste of time, and it is probably at or near the bottom of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, in my opinion. You could check out our thoughts not only in past episodes of the Pop Culture Cosmos, but our guide to the Marvel Cinematic Universe on popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. So to me, and when it all comes down to it, and you have to put a gun to my head, which I hope you don't, by the way, I would probably have to say, of all the movies that you can afford to miss, all the movies you can afford to miss, the Incredible Hulk from 2008 is probably the one that you can afford to miss the most in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Your final thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like it doesn't. If they were to build off of what happened in the movie, then, you know, in the following movies, then yeah, that'd be a different story. I would say, you know, tune in. Even if you don't like it, it's worth seeing how it happened. But yeah, there's nothing there. It's you know, besides the references, there's not really a lot of substance there, and it's not really worth your time to sit there and watch it. But if you haven't seen it, I would say watch it once. It's worth that one watch, but don't, you know, if you're going back to marathon to connect the stories, don't even worry about it.
Because it really doesn't make any purpose. Like I said, outside of you outside of you acknowledging that General Thunderbolt Ross exists, and that you know where he came from when you watch Civil War, then you're good. You're good to go. Otherwise, to me, the whole movie is a waste of time in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And unfortunately, it was just what could have been, because Mark Ruffalo, I think, okay, let's put this. Edward Norton didn't do such a bad job in the film. The film itself it's a little bit lackluster. It's not exactly high up on my list, as I've said before, but it's not that horrible of a movie. But it's just basically not worth your time if you want to try and check out films that relate to the Marvel Cinematic Universe or have some semblance of importance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I just think if you're looking to go ahead and piece together the puzzle before Infinity War or Black Panther, definitely this is the movie you can afford to miss the most. But Mark Ruffalo as well has taken the whole character to a much more humanizing realm than I think Edward Norton or Eric Bana. Unfortunately, both are great actors, but unfortunately, either could take or either was given enough, in the script or direction to do so. I think Mark Ruffalo has really taken the Hulk to a much higher level than those two actors did or could ever do in their situations. And I really think giving the whole character to Mark Ruffalo is great. And I, like you, I don't really want to see him in his own movie. I really like him being featured in all these other movies as well. And little bits of Hulk to me go a much longer way than an actual entire Hulk movie.
Right. No, I agree. Because he needs another character to help bring out that side of him, especially like what Thor did for him in Ragnarok. That helped bring out that human side of the Hulk. Nobody else could have done that. We would have never been able to see that happen had it been a standalone movie, because there's nobody nobody that's powerful enough to sit there and have a conversation and then be able to risk getting punched in the face or something.
Exactly, Josh. I couldn't have said it better myself. And I'll tell you what, it's still going to be great to see what Hulk does in the upcoming Infinity War, and also as well if he survives to go to Infinity War #2 in 2019. I'm excited to see what's coming up and excited to see where the Hulk as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe can go from there. What are your thoughts on the 2008 movie, The Incredible Hulk? Do you think it's a necessary watch within the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Or do you think, like we do, that if you have to miss one, that this would probably be the one to do so? And do you also think that the tie-ins to the Marvel Cinematic Universe are really not that very well done as well? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. So Josh, it's been another great episode. Once again, I want to thank you for being part of the broadcast here today. And again, with all the different places you can check out, please check out our sites on Humanity Media, on Facebook and Twitter, and also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, so you can get the latest updates on where you'll find us, whether it's anchor.fm, the Good Talk radio station on the Cutting Edge Radio Network, the Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting Network, or thank goodness we are so glad to be back on the Podcast Radio Network, or any one of the other great networks and stations we're on. We just truly appreciate you being part of them. And also, most importantly, you, the listener, we thank you for listening so much each and every time right here on the Pop Culture Cosmos. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great